Hi and welcome. Today was a very difficult, frustrating, hard car day. I'm in my ex's car right now, and there's been issues with this car for quite some time. But when I first started driving it, the first couple of days, it drove fine. And in fact, it drove pretty well. Okay, drove fine until yesterday, but then today I had to drive more. There were a few places I had to stop. Anyway, and then I made a couple of extra stops. Maybe I didn't have to, whatever, but I did. So I was driving the car a little bit more, and it's also a very hot day. And before, when there was an issue with this car, when it was hot, today's like about 80 degrees, and when it was really hot, the issues of kind of stopping in the road, except then the theft light would come on, it would just literally die in the road. But anyway, I did everything I had to do, and then by the time I went to Fresh Market, a place called Fresh Market, and by the time I went there, I noticed it wasn't running too awfully well, but I had to, get to my next stop. I'm in a parking lot. Anyway, so, and it's a parking lot with a lot of trees, so it's cooler, and I like it here. Anyway, so by the time went around the curve and make my turn and go kind of up a hill, the car literally just plummeted, and it was like, just literally, like it died. It didn't die though. The engine didn't go out, or didn't stall, but it like literally kind of just more or less stopped. I got the car off to the side of the road, sat there for a few seconds, and then did what he said, and I gave it a little bit of gas, and finally I was able to make it into the parking lot. And then I came out. I went into the store to get a Diet Pepsi, and when I came out, I went to move it, and it was still not running too good. I moved it over to another area now, and it seemed to be doing a little bit better. So tonight, I'm going to head straight to the truck stop. I've got some food left over from Fresh Market, and I'm just going to head straight to the truck stop without making any stops. Normally I go get ice, but I can just get ice in the truck stop. I don't usually like to do that, but I'm going to do that tonight because it's going to probably be dark, and I have to let it sit here for a few hours to hopefully it'll cool down and it won't stall out or whatever, come close to stalling out. Basically what it does is the RPM start fluctuating really badly, and then like going up and down. I noticed last night was kind of cold, and I drove a little further to go to a different area, different gas station, whatever, truck stop, whatever. And I noticed it was really cold, and I had to let the engine idle to stay, turn it on for a little bit to get warm. And I noticed that's when I noticed it was fluctuating real bad, going up and down, just kind of. But then I got out, went inside the store, and when I came back out and I turned it on a little bit later, and I let it idle for a little bit, it was okay. So I don't know I have no clue. I know that I'm in this car right now because my car is in the shop. I heard from the dealership, and they told me that that was a couple of days ago, and they said that, well, no, that was yesterday, not a couple of days ago, because a couple of days ago was Sunday. Anyway, I dropped the car off on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. Anyway, I knew they wouldn't be able to look at it until yesterday, Monday. They know exactly what's wrong with it. It was the whole wrench light coming on, and I'll come back and do a little bit longer video on that, or a short, and probably address that. The wrench light being on and the engine light being on. It's the throttle body, and there's actually a recall on the car for that. But mine's outside of it's like a recall or a bulletin, but it's like 10 years, 150,000 miles. I only have 81,000 miles, but my car's older than 10 years old. So I fall outside of the time when I can get it replaced or done for free. Anyway, so I had to pay for that. By the time we added up everything else that needed to be done to that car, because there's maintenance, being a 13-year-old car, like he said, I don't know. He said he can't find a leak in the transmission so far, which is a good thing, but I swear I think it was losing it, but he said it could just be because the fluid was really, really old. In fact, The text actually suggests doing on this particular car. He said that the transmission fluid does not last very well for some reason. It's just really bad. So they recommend between 20 and 30,000, and this was at 31,000. Last time it was 50, because the car, when I bought the Carfax report said that it had been done at 35,000. So I was relying on that, and it turns out I don't think it had been done at 35, and so it wasn't, the first transmission flush wasn't done till 50, and now this one's 31,000 miles later. But anyway, so by the time we added everything in, because I'm doing the transmission, they got to do the throttle body. Let's see, the throttle body. Got to do the transmission flush, and that's like $350. That's like really expensive. But coolant, the induction system, the fuel service cleaning or induction service. I'm doing an alignment because the tires have been replaced, or two of the tires have been replaced. Let's see what else. They're doing a tune-up on it. He said it'll actually be a little bit cheaper to do the tune-up because they're going to be in there doing the throttle body, and it's all right there. Let's see, what else am I getting done? And there's a couple other things I'm getting done too, but I can't remember it all. Anyway, it comes to over $2,000. After I do the throttle body tune-up, all the flushes, everything needs to be done. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be pricey, and my credit cards are pretty much going to be maxed. Anyway, that's where I'm at with my car. My car's still waiting. I'm still waiting to get done, for them to get done on my car. They said that they would probably be done on Wednesday. I hope they are, but it might be, might be later than that anyway, because this car that I'm in, my ex's car, it does not run very well. It is just not a reliable car. And it's sad because the car doesn't have that many miles. It's only got like 100 and maybe 130,000 on it. So it's not that old. So that's really sad that it's really just not reliable. But it was in the shop for I think 8 months. It was in the shop while they were trying to figure out what was wrong with it, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. It was it was at one place, and then it went to the dealership, but they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, and then it went to some other places, and my ex was never able to figure out what was wrong with it, even though he worked on it. I mean, they worked on it, he worked on it, and never been able to figure it out. So he's basically just puttering around in it because he doesn't drive very far. He only drives from where his house is, and basically he's not even a quarter of a mile down the road. So he's basically only driving the car a quarter of a mile, or maybe less than a mile a day. So because of that, he's not having to have the full effect of what happened with me, with it dying in the road. Now, one day when I was with him, he said that it kind of did this, but I didn't realize it was that bad until it happened to me, because I was riding with him, and he just pulled off right over the railroad tracks, and he thinks it's got something to do with the battery cable. I don't. I think it has something to do with the idle air control valve. That's where I'm leaning, because of the fluctuating RPMs, or even a throttle body. I'm thinking either idle air control valve, the idle air control circuit, possibly the throttle body, maybe a vacuum leak, something along those lines, or even a combination of those things. But anyway, and I'm not saying that the battery cable and battery terminals don't need to be replaced. They may do. They probably do. But whatever. Anyway, so that's where I'm at today. Today was it's scary. I drove this car before, like a few years ago, like 3 years ago, when it first had the issue, and I ended up with AAA nightmare when the thing stalled out in Tennessee on the freaking side of the interstate. So, and that was really, and I said, I'll never drive this. I will never ever get in this car again. And I said, I'll never get in it again. But unfortunately, I didn't have a choice, because I had to take my car in to be worked on. I tried to get a rental car, but I really wasn't able. When I first tried to get the rental car, I couldn't get a rental car. So I had to wait a few days to get the rental car. And they told me they weren't, and I didn't think, luckily they're not taking that many days on my car. If they get done with it by tomorrow, they'll only have it like less than a week. So that's good, considering that this particular dealership said they have 407 open tickets for cars that need to be worked on. But anyway, So that's where I'm at, and I said I'd never get in this car again, but I didn't have a choice because of the rental car. I couldn't get one initially, and then I have to look at cost because I've got a lot of cost coming up of other things. I've got legal fees. I still owe like $7,000 to my attorney. And probably more legal fees on top of that, and there's going to be more legal fees on top of that, and then $2,000 to fix my car. It's just so much, that I thought, okay, if I can tough it out in this car for a few days. Hold on. This is why I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Anyway, so this is where I'm at. It's just a really difficult day, and I will come back and probably do a little short and just update on the wrench light and the engine light and all that stuff. But anyways, this is where I'm at right now. Idle air control valve or whatever. I don't know if that's what's wrong with the car or not. All I know for sure is that it's driving me crazy, and this is why that I said I would never drive the car again. Anyway, I'm going to end this video now. I got some work to do, which I want to try to do, and it's dead. And and that reminds me, that's one other thing. They also said my battery needed to be replaced, but I've been replacing it like every year or every year and a half, like AutoZone. So I'm going to go back and try to see if AutoZone will replace that battery again, because they sell some. Apparently, batteries are just super crappy, and this car really eats the batteries. I mean, it just drains. I don't know, must be so many electronics that it just drains the battery. And I thought this car, my ex's car, was a real battery hog, and it kind of is, but mine's an even bigger battery hog. Anyway, so I'm going to end now and try to get a little work done, because hopefully I can charge my computer up enough without turning the engine on and without killing the battery. There's a fire truck. Anyway, so I hope everyone has a good week. God bless. Peace.